My Gavan and Melanine, and well met indeed. I am Arach here, Galadrithin, the head of the modding team behind Divide and Conquer, and welcome back to Divide and Conquer as we continue on as Bree. But before we continue on as Bree, I want to spend a little bit of time talking specifically about Imladris. So if you're not interested in the backstory to the mod at all, I will put a link to the start of the proper video in the description. So be on your merry way, and I'll see you in a few moments. But if you're more interested in some of the backstory and to try and dispel some myths, I hope to just talk about Imladris for about 5 to 10 minutes right now. Now, this is because the Imladris suggestion that I spoke of in the video 2 days ago was very much a literally as it came to my head kind of suggestion for Imladris. And then I went away on Saturday morning and I really then thought about it. I put my thoughts into words, spent about an hour thinking about it all, and came up with what is now on the screen in front of you. This is also an opportunity just to show you the Order of the Swan for Discord, as I bang on about it so much. And so there it is. Although, very sneakily, this is actually a print screen that you're currently looking at, so that no one can accidentally send me a message. Because I'm very paranoid about things like that. So, Imladris. Now, the main differences from the YouTube video to now... Oh, and apologise, there's no sound in the background until we jump back into the game. But the main differences from the video to now is that it's no longer Elrond that's running around the world. It's now the twins. Both of them. You need to send both of them. The system has been expanded somewhat to detail when you unlock every single unit. The only one missing is the Tulkas' Faithful, because I completely forgot that they existed. So they would be worked in somewhere along the line as well. But so on the screen is what I've written as my suggestion. Now, I will just talk through these bits and bobs, and I just want to dispel some myths that have been going around in the comments, particularly on YouTube, with people not knowing things. I've aired and I've expected people to know certain things as a given, and they haven't, so I need to cover that. So starting from the top then, the Singer unit that I spoke of is not going to exist. They're going to go. So, and also Imladris are no longer going to need to hold any towns except Imladris to win their campaign. So you don't have to capture any capitals or anything like that. The other difference is that the army that you start with is very much undecided at this point. That will become with testing. So I can't tell you right now whether or not you're going to get a quarter stack, a half stack, whether it's going to be Eldarinwe, Quendi, Neretno, Tulkas' Faithful, the new Sword and Board. Who knows what units are going to make up the starting army. That will be tested. And that will be played around with. So the general gist of what we've got so far moving forward, and this is, I've spoken of this here in Discord, I've spoken of it on Total War Center, I've now spoken of it on YouTube. All of these places, feedback has been supplied. The general gist is, it sounds like a good idea, let's go for it. It will be tested extensively before it arrives to you. Always be aware of that. And I'll also just cover a little bit about circumventing it, if you will, when I get to the end. So, the general gist, Elladan and Elrahir, after about 1 or 2 turns, you'll get a general message to tell you you've got to go to Western Moria. Now the reason you've got to go there is to see, you've heard rumours of the dwarves, yada yada yada, and that they're going to Moria. But then, once you arrive in Moria, this is going to trigger the start of the quest, because for those of you that don't know, Elladan and Elrahir's mother, Celebrian, the wife of Elrond, the father of Arwen as well, the mother of Arwen as well. She was wounded travelling across the Red Horn Pass, which is the pass around the mountain of Carathras. And this is basically Moria. That's the closest you can get to it on the game map. So this is going to trigger. The elves are going to go there where their mother was wounded and see that the orcs are in great numbers. Moria is still completely held. The mountains are completely held. So this will trigger the script. And Elrond then sends his 2 sons off to see the state of the world to decide whether or not the elves should really actually try and participate. Because up to this point, they've just been leaving. Now, of course, this is a break from the lore. The whole game is a break from the lore, and so that is why some aspects, although it's always a tricky argument to walk, because then you'll say, well, if the whole game's a break from the lore, why don't you add the goat riders? But they're more of a gameplay reason, and also because there are some things I'm just a bit anal about, so you're not going to ever get them. But Imladris being a faction is a break from the lore. They wouldn't have been a faction, they never would have fought, they were just leaving Middle-earth. Imladris in the Third Age is basically Elrond, his sons, a couple of named elves, and there's probably some people that live there, but not very many. So Elrond is then sending his twin sons out to see about what the situation of the world is. So you've gone to Western Moria, and then you'll need to then go to Khan Dum. Now, once you arrive at Khan Dum, there'll then be about a 3-4 turn wait period, where it's basically suggested the elves are scouting the region out. You can read everything I'm saying on the screen in front of me if you're faster. But so you'll go to Kharndum, you wait about 3-4 turns, and then this will trigger the message saying that the situation is more dire, yada yada yada. The remnants of Angmar, which long ago was completely destroyed by Glorfindel and Iarnor, the king of Gondor, the general of Gondor. If it was Iarnor, I can never remember the name. But now apparently the orcs are back, and the men of Rhudaur are stirring, and they're fighting against the free people. So this worries Elrond, but he's not so worried yet that he's going to change anything. So then the twin sons are sent south to seek counsel from Saruman. This is a bit of a break from the lore. It's kind of like DaC lore, if you will. The same reason Dorwinion exists. Everything in Dorwinion is DaC lore. I created it myself, actually. But it's a similar sort of thing. So Elrond, concerned with the remnants of Angmar and the state they might have on the Dunedain and the free peoples of Eriador, he sends the twins to Saruman. Of course, when the twins arrive at Saruman in DaC, our Saruman has already come out, if you will. Whereas in Truth to the Book, Saruman doesn't truly turn against the free peoples until either 18 or 19. So we're about 30 years ahead. Yeah, or 49 years ahead or whatever, because we're in 2980. So the twins then see, after the 4-turn wait as well, once you arrive in, probably not Isengard, because it would be very easy for the enemy to trap you, but more likely the province just south of it, Ginyard. So once you arrive there, and the twins see that Saruman has not only built an army, but he's turned against the free peoples. This is when Elrond first then musters his forces, and you get access to the Quendi. So it's not going to be a 60-turn wait before you can train troops. You'll get access to the Quendi almost immediately, depending on how quickly you can go to Moria, go to Kharndum, go to Isengard. Right, once you're in Isengard, once that is ticked off, you've got the Quendi. Elrond then sends you further off to see what the state of the world is and mingle with the people. Like, Elrond has the gift of foresight, yes, but he doesn't have that. He can't really get down and dirty. He can't speak with the people. He can't see for himself really what's going on. So he sends you then on to Mordor, and you have to go to probably the Dead Marshes again, so that you don't have to get too restricted. But essentially the Black Gate, but in this case the Dead Marshes. So you go there, and again, there'll be probably a 6-turn wait this time to suggest that the twins are really scouting out the region. They're going to Minas Tirith, they're going to Ithilien, they're looking at Minas Morgul, they're looking at the Black Gate. And once all of that is known, you then get the message saying Elrond indeed is now even more concerned, yada yada, and fearing that Mordor is rising up, he needs a way that he's going to be able to deal with the mass numbers of orcs given the small numbers of elves. So this is the trigger unit for the Naretno cavalry and infantry. Now, on the screen, it says that you go to Dol Guldur first, and I'm very much, the reason I've said it this way around is because I'm kind of in two minds about which one would actually come first, and whether it's better to get the cav and infantry or the sword and board. But I think I'll probably stick with the way it's written, actually. So before you go to Mordor, you'll go to Dol Guldur, because obviously they're connected mostly to the elves. So you've been to Isengard, then you'll head to Dol Guldur. Now again, this time you probably will go to the Dol Guldur region. You've got the two twins. You'll wait 4 turns. Again, Elrond will then see that there's a threat in the forest which is stronger than they ever feared, given that they ousted Sauron from Mirkwood quite some time ago, and now seeing that Camul the Easterling has taken up residence in Kharndum, Dol Guldur is now forcing out forces, or creating armies, Elrond then creates another unit. He then musters more elves to stay, and they begin creating armour that they can get their hands on. Bearing in mind they've not been mining for resources, they've not been training their smiths or whatever for years. So they begin creating armour, and this gives you the new Imladris sword and board unit. And the reason that they give the reason I've explained about there being new armour with lack of raw materials is because the new Imladris sword and board unit looks a little bit different to the rest of the roster, and it kind of sticks out. Not in a bad way, it looks really good, but it doesn't flow with the other units, kind of going from very little leather to full leather to then golden elites. So that explains that. So you get the sword and board, and then you go to the Dead Marshes, as I say. You wait there for a little bit longer than you would wait elsewhere, and then you'll get the Naretno cav and infantry. Now, Elrond, not suffice to leave you there, then sends you on to Mistrand. Now, this time you will have to go to Mistrand, because you're very unlikely to be at war with Rune, and with your two twins, with their Noldorin guard bodyguards, you'll really struggle to get them killed off, but I'll talk about that again in a bit as well. So then you go to Mistrand, and you wait around in Mistrand. Now, two things will then happen, because as you can see from the middle here, if you can see my cursor, the rest of the script now requires that you have allied with Khazad-dûm for a supply of raw materials, and you've rebuilt the Gwaith Myrddin so that you've got a large enough, essentially, factory. That's what we're using it for. But this bit does not require the barracks event. So if you manage to ally with KD, rebuild the Gwaith Myrddin, and make it all the way to Mistrand before turn 60, then you will get Elder Inway before everyone else gets their barracks events units, which is a little bit of a counter to the fact that you've had really staggered and very little recruitment for the whole time. Now, by my reckoning, it will take about 60 to 70 turns just to get to Mistrand, so it's very unlikely you will beat the barracks event, but if you cheat your elves around the map, which is something I'll talk about in a moment, then you probably will. So, once you arrive in Mistrand, you'll then spend time thinking about Mistrand, blah, blah, blah. You have your 4-turn wait time as the elves start looking around. And then the two things that will happen is, number one, is if you haven't secured an alliance with KD or rebuilt the Gwaith Myrddin, or, well, there'll be 3 potential messages, I suppose. If you have allied with KD, you'll get a message saying, oh, we're very concerned. Rune is not just a small rabble of armies. It's turning into a proper empire. It's going to threaten the world on its own, even without Mordor. So we're going to want to now outfit our finest troops, relive the days of the last alliance. But in order to do that, we're going to need an alliance with KD, and we're going to need to rebuild the Gwaith Myrddin. And that message will differ depending on whether you've already built the Gwaith Myrddin and you've already allied with Khazad-dûm. Now, parts of this, as I say, it will all be tested. So your fears, because there's an aspect here where people are concerned that forcing you to have to ally with someone could then potentially disrupt the entire script. Because you may have gone to war with an ally of Khazad-dûm that's now defeated. It's so rare. The chance is so rare. But realistically, with many people knowing about this beforehand, you'll probably try and secure an alliance with KD almost immediately. You could even take Zag Kala with your starting army, gift it to Khazad-dûm for an assured alliance, and then you're set, because they won't break your alliance unless you do some weird diplomacy. So that is likely to stay, but... So once you arrive at Mistrand, you've allied with KD, you've rebuilt the Gwaith Myrddin, then the Elder Inway become available, and then Glorfindel joins you. Because at this point, I'm kind of explained it away, saying that here, Elrond actually reaches out to Lindon, and they supply the warriors for the Elder Inway, and Elrond digs out the old armour of Imladris rather than use the now silver armour that Lindon is using. Is to explain that away. So you get all 4 Elder Inway will become available after your twins arrive at Mistrand. Then you have to continue on. You head to Stirlat-Sakand. Once you arrive in Stirlat-Sakand, Elrond's very concerned that an anti-Rohan faction essentially exists, and there's a cavalry threat on the horizon. So the guards then become available from Imladris. Of course, they're a pike unit. Then you finally head, or second to last, you head on to Finabel, the capital of Harad, seeing that Harad, like Rune, is not just a rabble of tribes. They're actually uniting against the Free Peoples. And seeing now the penchant that... that's how you pronounce this word. If people are saying penchant, it's penchant. Khand and Harad having their cavalry archer hordes, Elrond now wants to counter them with his own, so the Imladris Rangers become available, staggering the cavalry throughout, which is nice. And then finally arriving at Umbar, and then the reason I've written DaC Twist here is because, of course, the Dark Numenorians actually have nothing to do with Umbar in the Third Age, and it's entirely just flavour and hinted at and suggested for DaC to make Umbar more interesting than just Harad that has Corsairs as well. So, realising that the taint of the Dark Numenorian seems to have slipped back into Umbar, and noting now that Umbar is actually almost a rival to Gondor again, Elrond fears that the world is kind of stacked against the Free Peoples. So he finally then decides to call upon the very best elves that he has and create a near super soldier battalion which allows the Smiths of Eregion to finally be recruited. So that's how you would get all your units. And as I say, the Tolkien Faithful will appear in there somewhere along the line. I'm not sure where yet. But then the extra sort of fluff. The barracks event will no longer really be a thing for Imladris. I mean, your barracks will still be locked off. But what my plan is to basically put every single unit into the first level of the barracks, the stables and the archery range. So that as you unlock them, you can then train them almost immediately. And then after the barracks event, which kind of just is more a suggestion that you've finally now got a means to like mass produce your buildings as Imladris, you can then build the second tier of each barracks and the third tier of each barracks line, barracks stables, archery range, and that will just increase the replenishment of your elves. So the barracks won't unlock any new units, they'll just speed up your elven recruitment. just touching upon that, something that's not written here that has been amended is, given that Imladris are meant to be descendants of the Noldor rather than Sindar or Teleri elves, and the Noldor actually favour mountains over forests. I know that the image of elves is that they love all things foresty, but the Noldor don't. I mean, the Noldor are not a forest particularly loving people. They're a craft. They're basically dwarven elves, very much like the Dwemer of the Elder Scrolls universe. They are elves, but they act way more like dwarves. So the Noldor are all about crafting, they're all about mountain halls, they have cavernous homes. So the Noldor actually train faster in mountains than they do in forests. So do just note that, it's a minor little point. As I also say, Glorfindel is now not just going to spawn at turn 40, he's going to come in with Mistrand. And he will no longer have a cavalry bodyguard. This brings us on to cavalry bodyguard. Imladris are going to lose them. Because the one thing I don't think I can stop through this system, or we can stop through this system, is adoptions. And I think you're going to be getting adoptions. So the bodyguard unit, where it cavalry, it will totally negate the whole point of the small starting army with units then becoming available as you go. Because all you'd need is 2 or 3 adopted generals with Eldarinway noble cavalry, and the game is as easy as it ever was. Because they are so OP. And the point of this is not to make Imladris hard, per se. It will still be a walk in the park come late game. It will still be easy. Every battle you fight, you'll beat everyone hands down, even with your small starting army. But the point is just to make it more about army management rather than just raw difficulty. And it's a totally unique system. And if you add the auto-replenishing cavalry bodyguard, you won't have to worry about management any longer. Whereas when units are on foot, there's a little bit of a risk that they will go down, especially to things like mountain orc hunters. So they're going to lose their cavalry bodyguard, and as is Glorfindel. And now I know many of you are going to be uproarious about this, because of course Glorfindel rides the famous horse Asphalloth, and he's known for being somewhat of a cavalry man. But he is going to lose his cavalry bodyguard, and he is going to be dismounted. Let us not forget that when Frodo is stabbed, Glorfindel puts Frodo on Asphalloth, sends him on his way, and then leads the others on foot. And additionally, when he's escaping from Gondolin and fighting the Balrogs as his people flee, holding the rear guard, he's not doing that on a horse either. So, arguably, the two of Glorfindel's biggest achievements are on foot. So, fight me. Also, don't fight me, because I won't be swayed on this. So, you can argue about Glorfindel till the cows come home. I'm not going to change my mind. So, just don't bother wasting your breath, to be honest. Which is one of the... I shall be blunt there in that regard. Right, so the elf who starts in the fort, Dornan Austin, some of you may know of him. He starts in a fort to the south of the Imladris region. He will be taken away. He won't be there. So your army will be Elrond and his troops and the 2 twins, and that will basically be it. So, to then cover some people's worries and some misconceptions, this script will not affect the AI at all. They will be the standard Imladris that you all know. And Dornan Austin will even be spawned in on turn 1 to support the basic Imladris faction. So Imladris as the AI is not going to have this system. And that is the major misconception, people. I assumed people would just know. The AI could never handle this system. Why would they think to send the twins halfway around the world? They would never do it. You can't tell the AI to do that. So, of course, this isn't going to affect the AI. And I apologise there. I mean, obviously, I've had years of modding experience. I know what the game can and can't do. And you guys just have snippets of what I say. So there's less likely that you're going to know exactly what the capabilities of the AI are. So, no, this isn't going to affect the AI. Also, a lot of people were quite vocal about the fact that sending the twins on this journey is going to be really dangerous. What happens if they die? And then, so some people have suggested, can you put in a diplomat instead? Even myself, although that was kind of a ploy by myself, because I suggested, well, what if we swap the twins requirement then out for Erestor? Now, if you don't know who Erestor is, he's just a kind of lore mastery kind of elf of Rivendell, and he's like Elrond's kind of admin guy. And so he's present in quite a few mods as a sort of scribe or that kind of thing. So a diplomat would work fine for him. But the problem with the diplomat is there are no assassins and there's no bribery. And the AI doesn't know how to do the surround a agent with 8 units and kill them off tactic. So the diplomat would never fail. He would make it to every location, and it would make it more of a completely arbitrary time stopper than an actual challenge. Because, of course, the twins might well get attacked. And an aspect of it is, do you send your troops with the twins? Do you keep your troops with Elrond? Do you send the twins off on their own? Do you fight certain battles with the twins? Like that kind of thing. The twins' bodyguard is so OP that you would really need to be hit by a 15 or 20 banner army to probably lose them in the early stages of the game that you're going to be running around. Also, let's not forget that you're not going to be at war with Isengard. You're not going to be at war with with Rune. I think you're at war with Mordor, but they're very unlikely to bother with you if you just skirt into the dead marshes and then skirt out again. You're not at war with Khand, Harad, Umbar. They're most likely all just going to let you walk through. But then that's part of the management. Do you send any units with the twins? And a part of the reason why you get the Quendi actually so early is so that if you want to, you can then send the twins out with some Quendi. Also, you will be able to train Dunedain as normal. So from turn 1, you will be able to train some Dunedain units. And you may want to take those with the twins. It's all up to yourself, of course. Now, this again will come down to testing. Sorry, this has been way longer than 10 minutes. But this will again come down to testing. But my current thinking is that if the twins do fail, if they die, then the script will end. And basically, then you'd have to replay as Imladris. Now, that obviously is a very crude approach. And it may well be edited, but I just can't imagine that the twins are going to die unless you get really unlucky. Of course, if you auto-resolve, then that's on you, but because they won't have anywhere to flee to. Unless you try and make alliances as you go along the way. But this is an area that is still obviously going to be discussed. We're not really sure how to deal with the fact that the twins could possibly die. I mean, the likelihood is if one twin dies, the other one can still obviously continue the quest. Although I don't know, that might make the scripting really laborious and repetitive and problematic. But anyway, that is to be decided. At the moment, we're going with you need both twins to be alive. Because they can't die of old age, they can't die of disease, they can't be assassinated, they can't be bribed, they can only be killed in battle. So, you've just got to keep them alive. I think that's everything. No, the final thing is some people have said, well, this script seems so out there. Please, can you make it so that it's turn off or turn on? And of course, we've had a few comments that are like, oh, I was looking forward for version 2, but now all of my favourite factions are just being ruined and I'm not really into it anymore. Blah, 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 blah. And that's fair enough. That is your opinion. That I can appreciate that. However, with a basic knowledge of cheating, not even modding, literally just using the console, which if you don't know how to do on a computer, then I pity thee, for it gives you so many opportunities, and it's a major way of fixing the game with certain crashes. But if you really want Imladris to be the Imladris that you remember, you can do one of two things. You can, one, cheat the twins around the world. Use the show cursor stat command, and then move character command. And if you don't know how to find the console commands, literally go to Google, or, I don't know, ask if you're still living in the 90s, and type in Medieval 2 console commands. Simple as. You'll get various pages with all the cheat commands. And you can just cheat the twins around the world. You can then cheat the twins in every battle they fight in as well. If you really want Imladris to be normal like they were before, and this script to be over as quickly as possible, the only thing you'll have to wait for is the 4-turn wait in each location. Which may even be 2 turns, 3 turns. That's up for debate as well. Alternatively, something that I suggest that you can do is play as Lyndon. Full stop, really. Lyndon is going to be exactly the same from now till forever. They're the game's beginner faction. And the reason we're doing all these changes to Imladris is because Lyndon and Imladris were basically clones of each other, with one nation starting from one region in the thick of the battle, and the other nation starting with 4 regions far from the battle. They were the only changes. By about turn sort of 60 odd, the two campaigns are basically identical. You even have almost the same victory conditions. If you want to play as old school Imladris, just play as Lyndon. But if you want actually Imladris, then again, turn to the console commands. You can delete Imladris as a faction at turn 1. Surrender regions Egypt, enter, and Imladris will be defeated as a faction. Then move one of your generals over to Imladris, cheat win the victory, and you've got Imladris. You're playing as Lyndon, but you've got Imladris' base now. And you'll get all of their troops. Of course, the only difference between Lyndon and Imladris really are the Noraturno infantry and cav. the Quendi, and the Guard and Rangers. The Smiths of Eregion, all the Elder Rinways, they will all be available to Linden. Part of me even thinks that the Guards and Rangers are actually available to Linden as well, and if they aren't, they will be made to be, because if you resurrect Imladris, you then train their elite units. So it's only really if you prefer Noraturno and Quendi to Sindar and Teleri. There's the differences. Now, I say that with some stress in my voice, I suppose, because lots of people don't really like the change to Imladris, but they really are clones of Linden. And with the games, there should be variety between the factions. And there's none between Linden and Imladris. So, there you go. Right, I've talked way too long about that. I was hoping to talk for 10 minutes. I think I was talking for nearly 20. Which is bloody irritating. So, now that will end the little speech about Imladris. Comments about Imladris are welcome, but we will now proceed with Bree. Comments and thoughts on Imladris are actually very, very welcome indeed. As I will read and reflect upon what you all think about that, about the change that we're suggesting. Moving forward. Now, as the game loads back in, it's meant to be borderless window mode, but it takes bloody ages to load the game back. There we are. So, Bree, what are we on? 11:43 if you're interested in the morning on a Sunday. Welcome back to Bree. Oh, speaking of Bree, and dealing with a modding change, Numinas, we are going to make it pre-built at game start, and the battle map for it is amazing. RK, I've not written it in Discord yet, but if you are happening to listen, it looks incredible. And Numinas is like nothing you've ever seen before, and I mean that. The Kyrandros aspect has gone, the island aspect remains, but the battle map is now totally unique, and wait till you see it. It looks awesome. It's awesome. So Numinas is going to look very cool. Obviously, Numinas is currently a unique battle map at the moment, so that one will unfortunately be lost, but we shall see. Maybe Kyrandros will be edited somewhat. So, in the last episode, we secured the crossing of Tharbad, and our army now pushes out into Dun, where hopefully we'll get to fight our first battle in the Wildmen towns. And the mustering of the Shire is taking place as... who is our gentleman that's going to be leading them all? Cliff is going to lead a Hobbit army north to find out really what's happening with Angmar, and relive the days when the Hobbits said that they sent troops to Fornost in the Battle of Fornost in 1974, the Third Age. Otherwise, it's very peaceful all round, really. Very peaceful indeed.
Yes, my lord, your order.
But we are at an end turn as our elite army plunges south. And, yeah, we are definitely at an end turn. Have I got an agent doing anything at all, actually? You're standing around doing nothing. How about heading into Dunland, to... Is Helm's Deep reached? You can watch those videos in your own games, of course, but I can't watch those videos because I get bloody copyright claims.
You hold us at rank. Another proposition for us, then?
Which isn't too much of a problem. I'm not really in this for the money. If I was in this for the money, I'd be doing lore videos like every single day. And it would be shameless, my attempts to whore money out of it. But it is very annoying when 10 seconds of a 40-minute video means that all of the minor revenue goes to whoever made that video. That's how it works if you're unsure. If there is a copyright claim on your video, it still makes money, but all the money goes to whoever asserted the copyright claim. Regardless of how... like, it should do it proportionally, I think. But it doesn't. It just gives them everything. Also, to those... the question I posed about the armory, the garrison building, about it being a choice now where you can build the building and get the script, or you don't build the building, you don't get the garrison. There was overwhelming support for the choice version, whereby if you want the garrison, you build the building, you get the garrison. If you don't want the garrison, you don't build the building. The other option was unfortunately beaten down, so that is where we're at. Additionally, last time I was banging on about my turn times being slow, and they are actually not. This is actually just, we're 46 odd turns in. There's the garrison script at play at the moment, which wasn't properly optimized by me because I missed something out. And that's why it takes now about 30-40 seconds rather than 10 to 15. Although it won't be 30-40 seconds properly. I've also edited this campaign whilst it was in progress, which is a cardinal sin. And so all of those factors combined are why my turns have gone to about 30 seconds rather than 12. So worry not, it's not going to be a major thing. Alright, we've only actually got space for 2 more units. So we'll take the Banderbras if you may. Oh, we actually got quite a lot of them. What are the 60 of those doing there? Ah, yeah, you're going to there first, aren't you? Our only Hobbit elites. Oh, the battle will soon begin in earnest. Done, Larach. What do we need for this? Let's build a bit of everything.
Your orders, my lord.
Yeah, you stand with him.
Yes, my lord.
Oh, no, I need you to stand here, because if the town rises up... Oh, bugger. Bugger. Right, with any luck, Dun Larach is going to be, because it is a large town, is it not? Yeah, this is the largest size the wild men can get. So this is going to be the largest wild men battle map that you will be able to get. And it looks amazing, trust me. Of course, if you've played Europa Barbarum 2, you'll know what this battle map is. And I do once again extend my gratitude to them for allowing us to use these maps, because they really do add so much to the wild men, and they make them feel way more unique when you fight in their battle maps. Thank you all as well for the... I've only had comments for about 3 hours of the Warhammer video, but all of them so far have been very positive, and I thank you all for that very much, because I absolutely love it. And one of my greatest disappointments on YouTube so far is the fact that my Imperial Guard campaign was met with such... a flop is the word I would use. Well, not a flop. I mean, it didn't do terribly, but it didn't reach the heights that my standard videos do. And that's always been a disappointment of mine, because I love playing Soulstorm. And Titanium Wars makes the mod amazing, and the campaign is so much fun.
Your orders,
but just not enough people watched it to make it worthy of the cycle. Ah, Argon got a garrison quarters. We will build a leatherworker and a stables. Caddis Nernled got a blacksmith. Can you get 2 free upkeep? No, you can't. Does that give upkeep? No, it doesn't. I'm not really sure if we really want anything from here. I've increased the building income of inns as well, because all they do now is add spies and negative traits, if I'm not mistaken. So I've increased the income of them only slightly. It goes from 5 to 15 for the base level, and the top ones now will give you about 45 rather than 15. I've just tripled it at each stage. So 45 gold from one building is not all that much, really, when you add in various aspects. But here we go. I'm very concerned now that this is going to be bloody broken. But he only gets 2 units of defenders. His army is more than beatable by our army. Also, because he's on his own, I'm not going to let him control that army, because he'll just get them killed. So Ed is leading the charge. Did I just save it? Yes, I did. I'm saving it again. I'm so concerned this is going to crash. I tested every battle map, and they all worked on the campaign. But there could just be any number of things that have gone wrong. It might not even be the battle map I'm expecting. Ah, yes! 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 Yes, it is! Welcome to the largest size Wildmen town. This is also, I believe, the Wildmen's castle, the second tier of the castle line. But this is now their large town. And tell me this is not awesome. Courtesy of Europa Barbarum, we even have Wildmen buildings. I absolutely love it. So there are 3 ways into the town, as you can see. There are wooden walls that you can now put your troops on, jutting out of each side. These 3 locations. And they each lead up a path to the square. That one comes up from that way, that one comes up and then straight through, and then the other one comes a little further around, and then you've got to cut in. But there's also these little sort of dugouts, like up here, where you might be able to get siege equipment and stuff on those. I've only ever tested this battle map to make sure that it worked. I've not actually fought in it or outside of it. So we shall see how it works in proper practice. But our army will hopefully shred the enemy. Oh, another thing related to modding. Sorry, this has been a very mod-heavy video. Oh, and I did see the gentleman who posted a comment that said a drinking game with my videos would be to take a drink every time I apologise for something. And I thought that was quite funny. Actually, I got a chuckle out of that. Fire arrows are going to be removed. They're just going to be cut from the game, totally and utterly. They serve no purpose save for to weaken the AI. And the Orc nations will retain their poison arrows. Although the poison arrows... So basically the morale effect of the fire arrows lives on in the Orcish arrow fire. But everyone else loses fire arrows altogether. Because the AI hinders themselves with fire arrows non-stop. and they don't actually do very much damage at all to siege equipment. It's not an effective way to bring siege equipment down, which is the only other use for them. So to stop the AI crippling itself in night battles and just sometimes random battles, fire arrows are coming out of the game. Right, run those guys in. Hobbitry in arms! You guys move forward. Merchant militia, there they are in their finery. With their high armor stat but appalling everything else. Don't place trust in them. Know your limitations as Bree, that's the trick. Greenways are not too bad, but the real strength comes in the men of the Dunedain. Wardens of an age long gone. Still fighting for that glimmer of glory that they once held. And the Dunlendings line up around the base to fight us. And way back in the town square. They've abandoned the walls, but now we get to see whether or not... These are actual towers, so they probably are shooting us. Well, it's a bit more grassy here than it is in our normal battle maps. I must confess, I don't actually know how to edit vegetation at all. It's another thing I'm going to have to learn if we are to want to have more. We're not getting shot yet. Oh, hello, who's this? Dunlending Warband. Who's climbing the wall there? Dunedain Wardens. Yes. Oh, bandits. Oh, of course, because you've just joined us from... Grep, unfortunately, looks identical to our secondary bodyguard. No, you guys just stay over there. I'm not going to use you. Let's move back in. Oh, jeez. They opened the door. Merchant militia are going to come on the wall and hit the Dunlending warband in the side.
Our men have reached the walls with their ladders.
Have you go, men. 4% of the enemy has died. If we zoom in, what actually charged at us? Clan Axemen. Fools. Our force is already slaughtering them back through the gate. As the wardens climb the ladders. Archers, cease. You hit our own men. Especially the Dunedain. Stop shooting your own brothers. So our wardens file onto the wall. Merchant militia filing onto the wall. Come on! Oh, what on earth are you doing?
We've captured the enemy's walls.
Just wigging out. Just absolutely wigging out. The Clan Axemen have fled to the wall. Interesting. Let's rush in. Why are you not... There we go. Now it won't be long for those warband fall. Who's this run down the hill? Dunherd champions. Yep, through we go. Hit those Dunherds. You come to the gate as well. Archers. I wonder if I put you here, you can shoot... Are those Guardians of Dunland? Oh, is that their faction leader? Oh, it totally is. Oh, I forgot about you. You're stone throwers, aren't you? You're not archers. They're filing on. You really do lose a lot on the ladders, don't you? Even though the wardens massively outclass that warband. Come on, you guys rush in. Hit those Clan Axemen as they start filing off the wall. All of you. Guardians of Dunland target, please. How can you not reach? Oh, come on! Even the Banderbras have bloody got them in range. Yeah, I didn't think he'd stand there and take the arrow fire for long. Where are we? Larach? Is this their capital city? Not doing a very good job of holding it, are they? Interesting that we have a second way up to the square there as well. We can come from two sides, which is good. I really like this battle map. The second one looks very cool as well. There's a middle tier. So there's the village, then there's the town, and then there's the large town, and then there's the keep. What used to be the Motte and Bailey is the same. We fought there once before in, is it Argond? Was it Argond? Or Cor Willishar. It uses the same battle map that it used to before, but then the castle, I think, uses this one. So there's only really 3 new maps, and they're just kind of recycled in certain places. How are you guys doing on the wall? Oh, that wall fighting really is not doing well. Although they've killed the ones in between them. I tell you what, actually. I tell you what. Just run off. Just get off the wall. Leave the warband to it. Why are you climbing the ladder? And why did the axeman go all the way? How much time have we got? I'm doing alright. No, come on, just get off the wall. Force the warband off. Come on. What happened with the Dunherds? And who's this? Farmhand Pikeman. The AI is putting up way more of a defense than I expected. You're all welcome to shoot stuff if you can. I want all of you to just ruin that warband. Give him everything you've got. Their shields will give them good cover, but we lost a lot of wardens, so moral of this story is always bring siege towers. Ladders are just not worth it. 5 clan axemen are managing to hold. Bloody joke. And what still waits us in the square? A lot of their army. Ah, the Wildmen defenders are there. Oh, yes, that was something about the garrison script. Again, an aspect of what I was talking about from Imladris earlier is something I expected people to kind of know without me telling them, which is my failing again. The AI will get garrisons in certain key settlements regardless of whether or not they build the garrison building. So almost every capital city and every key iconic settlement around the world, as you are seeing here, for example, with the Wildmen defenders, they'll get garrisons in places for free, regardless of whether or not they've built the garrison. The only requirement is that they are the kind of lore-accurate faction that own that city, and they are being controlled by the AI. So if Dunland has Larach, they'll get garrison, but no one else will. Everyone else will have to build the garrison building. Although some of that does cross over, so if Dol Amroth, for example, have Minas Tirith, they also get a free garrison regardless. It's that kind of connection again. Right, well, we're finally off the wall, but these farmhand pikemen appear to be cutting an absolute swath through our line. The Dunherd champions are pretty much dead, though. There's only 2 of them left. How are 102 farmhand pikemen doing so well? Kill them! Does anyone have shield wall? You do. Break their line. Oh, I've just basically killed 15 of you. Oh my god, this is unprecedented. Kill the farmhand bloody pikemen! Oh, we've run out of arrows. We have run out of arrows. Stop firing. Stop firing.
Smash the enemy.
What is the command? You stop firing. No, you're on skirmish. Well, balls. I'm literally flabbergasted. These farmhands are killing everyone! Oh my god, man. You're never going to make it to the city in time. I am undone by the looks of things. Well, archers are going to have to be used as...
Victory will be ours.
Yeah, charge through, charge through, charge through, charge through. There you go. Now just use your overwhelming numbers to drop the buggers. I can't believe they held out that long. And you know the reason is because the faction leader's here. Just utterly surround them. So they fight with increased fervour. We're never going to drop him. I'm really tempted to call a retreat already, to be honest. We'll save a lot of men. I don't think what we have here is going to take what they've got in the town centre. In fact, we're already losing. I'm calling it. Don't go up the ladders. Come on, just get out. Just get out. We've suffered. But we've managed to make quite a few people survive. So, oh, what are you doing? No way are you running the whole map! And of course, as one army disappears, the other army's going to step in. Don't withdraw all the way over there. Oh, no. Oh, God's sake. If I quit, though, I'm pretty sure you'd take more losses. Alright, everyone's in now. Now we just gotta wait for them all to run, for some reason, all the way over there. Ah, this... I just noticed as well that the battle map doesn't blend with our map all that well. And there's a rather jarring line where the deserty sort of texture ends and the grass texture begins. But I know of this bug in one other settlement, and I'm fairly certain, in fact, that Arcade's actually already fixed this in our version 2 build. Like, moving forward, like this was fixed after I started this campaign. Because he knows a lot more of the settlements. I can bring the settlements to our mod, but then I can't actually edit them. Which is why there's this sort of area of different terrain. Oh, I wouldn't like to live there, right on the edge. Has a very Edoras-y kind of vibe to it, doesn't it? With the hills, the low-lying huts. It just looks so good. I just really like it. Sorry, now we're just waiting. I don't want to quit though. I do feel like if you exit and quit, you lose more troops than if you just organise a route.
The tide of battle seems to have turned against us. We must act and halt this turn of events.
I need you guys to, like, go and kill yourselves.
Our army is tiring.
Go on. There's only one left. There we are. No, what on earth are you doing? Oh, what are you doing? There we go. Now they're properly routing, so as soon as these guys make it past the line, it'll end. We'll have to regroup our army and come back and siege it out, but I wanted to show you the battle map more than anything. I'm not all that bothered about Dunland. With Enedwythe attacking them from one side, Isengard mopping up certain points and not really fighting us yet. Dunland are very much, their fate has been sealed. But our army has suffered a humiliating defeat here today. Absolutely humiliating. As the hill of Dunlarach looms in the back. And it ends. It's the last man passes. A bitter drop to swallow. Next time it'll be our fun. It'll be because of him. Farmhand pikemen do not hold out that long unless something external is affecting them. And in this case, the power and prowess of the chieftain of Dunland has caused one of the game's militia units to fight as though they are elites. But then that is actually quite good to see, because these people are fighting for their lives in their capital city.
Yes, my lord.
You know, they would be fighting like that rigorously. But my god, did we lose a lot.
Your orders, my lord. Yes, my lord.
And Grep's Crossing has been attacked. And I bet they attack it when I end the turn here. So we've lost the battle for Larach, the capital of Dunland, and we're about to lose Grep's Crossing, although we'll take it back straight away, but we will lose it.
I would fight for your people as if they were my own, friend.
Which is a pain. Oh, are we at the turn where they've retrained, or are they retraining? No, they've retrained.
As you wish, my lord.
Only one turn remains for the remainder of our Hobbit army to come out, and then we'll head north. Yeah, go on, Agendour. Take Fornos so I can take it back. I don't want to end the turn because I know that they're going to attack Grep's Crossing, but I have no choice. I have no choice. My hands are bound. I'm not speaking at the moment. I should probably speak. Oh, bugger off if they brought that army. Come on, Dunland. Cut me some slack. Organise a retreat to Grep's Crossing.
Your orders,
We must hold the river.
Your orders, my lord. Yes, my lord.
They'll flee as soon as we attack them. We outnumber them so much.
To battle.
Oh, I won't fight that.
Glory,
Sometimes they're
honor,
just so obviously in your
victory.
favour, it's just not worth it.
Your orders, my lord.
Your will, my lord.
Let's take the units that are...
Orders.
See if we can merge any of them. Yes, we can. Room for
Yes,
3
my
more.
lord.
None of those are over there,
Your
though, are they?
orders, my lord.
No.
Yes.
Look how many of the Dunedain survived that engagement.
Your orders, my lord.
None. Right,
Yes,
Grep, you're a
your
renowned
orders,
military
my
leader.
lord. Yes, my lord.
Take Ed with you so we don't have 2 images of the same guy.
Your orders, my lord.
Fosco,
Yes, my lord.
you hold in the crossing. And stay there, although I'll take those
Aye, sir.
dwarves back off
By
your
your
hand.
command. Joining forces, my
16 of those or the 39 wardens, that's the question. That is the question. No, I'll leave them both there. To be honest, take the 16 of them as well.
Yes, my lord.
Right, Grep, you've got to defend your crossing. Oh, some Dunlandings went into that fort over there.
Your orders, my lord.
See if they rise up. You can get a look at the Wild Men Fort as well then. Because the Wild Men Fort is also distinct and has been changed. Our Hobbit army is but 2 turns away from marching out of the Shire. Ah no, Numnas is well and truly held now. As Fornos was. Yeah, Gandalf's knocking around somewhere, wasn't he? He was in the Shire for a while. In Bree for a while, sorry. There's the new town of Ostsul. Cool, Willishar, what are you building? Anything good? Nothing of note there. No real need for you. Although when we eventually attack, you're a castle, so go on then, take the lot. Because when we eventually backstab Ennard Wythe, I'm not one for backstabbing normally, but in this endeavour, I perhaps can be swayed. All the new resources of the combined Hobbit homestead and tobacco farms into one Hobbit farmstead, giving a large income boost, which is why the Shire is so bloody wealthy. Look at it! It's such a moneymaker, and it doesn't matter who owns it. Like, it will make that much money even if, say, Angmar take it, because it's just such a trade hub. Such a trade hub. Another end turn. We're looming in on our decision. We're 50 turns in, and we get to choice. We get to choice the elves or the dwarves or the northern Dunedain or the mercenary path. We get to choice them at about turn 80, I think. But maybe 95. Maybe 91, actually. Something like that. Anyway, away from Ireland, let's fight the battle. Captain Melmodoc. Nah, you're not going to win, mate. This battle is about to show you why cycle charging CBGs, cavalry bodyguards, is a game-breaking feature unavailable to the AI. And this is a Wildmen fort. It's actually pretty damn big, given that everything else about the Wildmen is small. But the reason that I went with this big, or more like a little village rather than a fort, is because I thought that would be more akin to what the wild men would do. Whereas like a military-heavy nation like Gondor, Dol Amroth, Northern Dunedain, for example, if they were to build a fort, it would be a purely military installation. It would be a pure fort. But the wild men don't have that kind of militaristic nature. And so their forts would be more akin to just defended villages, which is what we've gone with this. So this is obviously just a wildmen wooden walled square, really. But it's reasonably big, which gives the wildmen a little bit of a boost. I say wildmen, this fort is present in various locations, and of course forts can't actually be built. So wherever you see a fort looking like this on the campaign map, it will be like this on the battle map. Right, so we charge in, decimate their ranks, and charge out. 20 of them now remain. What are they? Dunending huntsmen, javelin throwers. Get them before they throw a javelin. Although the CBG of Bree aren't as good, but we've killed 40% of them. There we are, more fell without us taking losses. Well done, Fosco.
We've lost half of our men. Only half the enemy force remains.
Dunending warriors have gone down. Oh, again, that same texture glitch. It's because it's using textures from Europa Barbarum that are not actually present in DaC.
Our men have fought long, and
The archers should have hit the archers more. I'm not sure we're going to have enough to do it now. Very unlikely with our 4. Yeah, there's only 2 left. Away you go. So, obviously with Bree, I've not proved the point all that well, but Bree's cavalry bodyguard are pretty average. They've only got a 6 attack, a 6 charge, and a 16 defense. But, for example, the Lok Innesrim with their, like, 12 attack, 32 defense, 8 charge, just decimate everything. As do the Dol Guldur, Dol Amroth, well, Dol Guldur cavalry, I suppose. Dol Amroth cavalry, the Rohan Royal Guard. But even if you saw the kill stats there, yeah, yes, we lost, but our general survived. We killed 87 of the 100 and something men that they had, and in one turn our general will be back to 22 men, whereas those units we've just killed off, they won't replenish. So even though I've lost that battle, it's still a massive indicator for why CBG cycle charging is so OP. And Dunland have attacked me.
We must make a stand. We are besieged.
I am going to apologise again for how long I talked about Imladris. I didn't mean for it to go on for that long. I'm a little aggrieved. I was actually going to do a totally independent, separate video just to talk about Imladris. But I thought that would be quite dull, really. So I opted to just stick it on the front of the Bree one. Master Masons, please. Right, as we are at turn 50, we will take a look at the world, because I'm not sure we've done it yet. No, I think we have, actually. I think we have. So, in our south, we won't try and look at our south too much, but Isengard are there, making themselves known. Gondor haven't lost any territory. In fact, they've gained territory. Dol Amroth have pushed hard. They've got Barad-Han, Tirtharos, and Amun-Ithel, whereas Khand have got Gobel Mirland again. Yeah, I think Gobel Mirland is probably going to be given to Umbar in turn 1 auto, I'm afraid. Or possibly, I'm really tempted to just move it to the other side of the river and have it on the southern side. Like, so this province will just become Northern Mirland, will just be all of that, and then a large chunk of this will be taken away to be Southern Mirland. And, or the Principality of. And the town will be there. I think that would just stimulate more movement. Barad-Han's port is currently there, but Barad-Han's port could remain there, giving a foot. Yeah, I think I probably will do that. I might well look into doing that. Anyway, Umbar have taken An Karagmir in the deserts in the far south there. The problem with Khand obviously ensues. Harad have not managed to take it. Rune are not doing very well at all. They're really under the cosh, my word. But Dorwinian are now. Oh no, they're taking Rawberg back. Dale have been trapped in and they've gone for the Misty Mountains. Because they've got Witherboard. Now this problem is going to be resolved very simply by making this connection with Dale gone. So the Woodland Realm region is going to curl up and go to there. So Dale will no longer border Witherboard and they won't go that way. But the dwarves are knocking on Rune's door. I think Rune might die, to be brutally honest. It looks like it's not going well for the evil nations. Only Isengard really have got a hope at the moment. So there we are. Dol Guldur are doing well, actually. Dol Guldur are doing very well. And I'm surprised they're not attacking Dorwinion more. The Misty Mountains... Ah, yeah, look, the Misty Mountains have have hit the Anduin really hard. Anduin are down to Sellerberg, Michaelberg and Framsberg. That's interesting. That is interesting. Northern Dunedain have not got very much at all either. I don't want to look over there though, because I don't want to see what's coming. So there we are. Some interesting little tidbits. So that will conclude today's video. So I do hope you've enjoyed it. I'm eager to hear your thoughts on Imladris. I'm eager to hear your thoughts on the Wildmen Town if you thought it was cool. And it would be rare that I do these like split 30-minute mod talk, 30-minute video thing again. But for now, that will conclude. So until we speak again, dear friends, Navarna den per Mad Melonin, and farewell.